vanishing folklore and beliefs. The Animal's Language, from Heroic Tales and Legends of the Serbians, circa 1914, public domain reading. A wealthy peasant had a shepherd who served him for a great number of years, most honestly and faithfully. One day, as he drove his sheep through a forest to the pasture, he heard a hissing sound and wondered what it could be. Listening carefully, he went nearer and nearer to the spot whence the sound came, and he saw that the forest was on fire, and that the hissing proceeded from a snake that was surrounded by flames. The shepherd watched to see what the poor creature would do in its trouble, and when the snake saw the shepherd, it exclaimed from the midst of the flames, "So, shepherd, I pray of you, save me from this fire." Then the shepherd reached out his crook, and the snake entwined itself swiftly around the stick, round his arm, and onto his shoulders and around his neck. When the shepherd realized what was happening, he was seized with horror and cried out, "What are you to do, ungrateful creature? Did I not save your life only to lose my own?" And the snake answered him, "Have no fear, my savior, but take me to my father's house. My father is the king of the snake world." The shepherd endeavored to move the snake to pity and prayed it to excuse him, for he could not leave his sheep. Thereupon the snake said to him, "Be comforted, my friend. Do not trouble about your sheep. Nothing amiss will happen to them. But now do hasten to my father's house." So the shepherd went with the snake around his neck through the forest, till he came at length to a doorway, constructed entirely of serpents. When they came near the gate, the shepherd's guide hissed to its servants, whereupon all the snakes instantly untwined themselves, leaving a way open for the shepherd, who passed through unmolested. Then the snake said to its preserver, "When we come before my father, he will surely give you as a reward for your kindness to me whatever you wish, gold, silver, and precious stones. But you should not accept anything of that kind. I would advise you to ask for the language of animals." He will undoubtedly be opposed to your wish, but finally he will yield. They now entered the apartment of the king, who, with evident relief, inquired, "My son, where have you been all this time?" The reptile then told all about the fire in the forest and of the kindness of the shepherd who saved his life. At this, the snake king turned with emotion to the shepherd. "What reward can I give you for having saved the life of my son?" he said. The shepherd answered, "I desire nothing but the power of understanding and speaking the language of animals." But the snake monarch said, "This is not for you. For if I give you that power, and you should impart the secret to another person, you will instantly die. Therefore choose some other gift." But the shepherd insisted, "If you wish to reward me, give me the language of animals. The gift shall not be withheld. Open your mouth." The shepherd obeyed, and the snake king blew into his mouth and said, "Now blow into my mouth." The shepherd did as he was told, and the snake king blew a second time, and then said, "Now you have the language of animals. Go in peace, but be sure not to impart your secret to another, else you will die that very moment." The shepherd took leave of his friends, and as he returned through the woods, he heard and understood everything the birds, the plants, and other living creatures were saying to each other. When he reached his flock and found all of his sheep safe, he lay on the grass to rest. Hardly had he settled himself that two ravens alighted on a tree and began to converse. "If the shepherd knew what is under the spot where the black lamb is lying, he would surely dig in the earth. He would discover a cave full of silver and gold." The shepherd at once went to his master and told him of the buried treasure. The latter drove a cart to the place indicated, dug deeply into the earth, and lo! He found a cave full of silver and gold, the contents of which he placed in his cart and carried home. This master was as honest and generous a man, and he gave the entire treasure to his shepherd, saying, "Take this, my son. It was you that God gave it. I would advise you to build a house, to marry, and start some good business with this gold." The shepherd did as his kindly master advised him, and little by little he multiplied his wealth and became the richest man, not only in his village but in the whole district. He now hired his own shepherds, his own cattle drivers, and his own swineherds to keep his great property in good order. One day, just before Christmas, he said to his wife, "Prepare wine and food, for tomorrow we will go out to our farms and feast our servants." His wife did as he bade, and the next morning they went to their farms, and the master said to his men, "Now come, one and all, eat and drink together. As for the sheep, I will watch them myself tonight." So the kind man went to guard his sheep. About midnight, wolves began to howl, and his dogs barked a defiance. Said the wolves in their own language to the dogs, "Can we come and kill the sheep? There will be enough for you also." Thereupon the dogs answered in their own language, "Oh, come by all means. We also would like to have a feast." But amongst the dogs there was a very old one, who had only 2 teeth left. That faithful animal barked furiously at the wolves. "To the devil with you all! So long as I have these 2 teeth, you shall not touch my master's sheep." And the master heard and understood every word they uttered. The next morning he ordered his servants to kill all of his dogs except for the old one. The servants began to implore their master, saying, "Dear master, it is a pity to kill them." But the master would not suffer any remonstrance, and sternly ordered, "Do as I bid you." Then he and his wife mounted their horses and started for home, he on a horse and she on a mare, As they journeyed, the horse left the mare a little behind, and he neighed, saying, "Hurry up! Why do you dawdle behind?" And the mare answered, "It's not hard for you. You are carrying only your master, and I am carrying a despotic woman whose rules are a burden to the whole household." Vanishing folklore and